The first time I bought physical gold, I made 4 mistakes before the coin even arrived at my door. And I didn't find out until months later, of course, when I tried to sell it. You see, nobody warns you about this stuff. You see the price of gold, you think, hey, I should own some. You find a dealer, you wire the money, you get all excited to see the FedEx man show up. And yet, in that process, you make decisions that are actually going to cost you because no one told you what actually matters. So stick around, because at the end of this, you're going to avoid every mistake I made and a few you probably haven't even thought of yet. And yes, even a few of you experienced stackers may pick up a tip or two. I'm Eric with Summit Metals, and this channel is where we break down the real mechanics of buying, owning, and selling gold and silver. If you're new here and find this useful, hit subscribe. I'll start with the one concept almost every first-time buyer gets wrong, and it's the thing that quietly determines whether you're making a smart decision or an expensive mistake. Then I'll get into the premium trap. We'll talk about forms, because not all gold and silver is created equal. I'll cover storage and the tax reality that almost no one tells you about up front. And at the very end, I'm going to show you how to think about selling before you buy, which is honestly the most counterintuitive and most significant thing in this whole video. Now, a quick heads up before we go any further. Nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm sharing what I've learned from years being in the industry. Talk to a professional if you need help. All right, here's something that might surprise you. More people bought physical gold and silver in the past few years than at almost any time in modern history. Demand hit record levels. Mint after mint struggled to keep up. And a lot of these buyers were first-timers. The information gap in this industry is wild. There are all kinds of content telling you why to buy gold and silver. There's almost nothing that walks you through the practical reality of what to buy, where to buy it, and maybe most importantly, how to eventually sell it without getting burned. As the person who pioneered online stock trading on the internet way back in the early 90s, I've learned a few hard trading lessons along the way. I've sold things I shouldn't have sold. I've gotten whipsawed by my own emotions, bought high when things felt great, sold low when things felt terrifying. That's not a confession I make lightly, but I think a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I started holding physical gold and silver, actually holding it, feeling that weight in my hand, safely stored, something actually shifted. And I don't fully understand the psychology of it, but I believe it completely. Whatever the reason, physical ownership has made me a more disciplined investor. So with that in mind, let me walk you through exactly how to do this right. The first thing I wish someone had explained to me is what the spot price of gold actually is. When you Google gold price right now, for example, you'll see a number. Let's say it's $4,700 an ounce. That's the spot price. It's the price for a hypothetical contract to buy gold right now on a commodities exchange. It's not the price of physical gold. It's a reference price, the benchmark, if you will. You're paying spot price plus a premium. That premium covers the cost to mine the metal, refine it, ship it, the whole long process. Every one of those things costs money. The premium is how these costs get paid. So why does this matter? Because people come to a dealer and say, gold is at, say, $4,700. Why is the coin $4,850? And the answer is because that is what it actually costs to hold a physical ounce of gold in your hand. The premium is not a scam. It's not arbitrary. It's very real. And once you understand that, you stop being surprised and you start being able to compare prices the right way. Here's the thing. The premium you pay depends enormously on what you buy. And this trips up a lot of first-time buyers. Let's use gold as an example. You can buy gold in a 1/4 ounce coin, a 1/2 ounce, a 1 ounce, even a kilo bar. They all contain gold, but the premium per ounce is not the same. A 1 ounce American Gold Eagle might carry a premium of 5 to say 8% over spot in a normal market. A 1/4 ounce Eagle, same coin, just smaller, might carry a 12 to 15% premium. Why? Because you're still paying the same fixed minting and handling costs, but now you're spreading that cost over less gold. Silver has its own version of this. A 1 ounce American Silver Eagle will carry a much higher premium than a 100 ounce silver bar. Right now, that premium on Eagles can be anywhere from $4 to $6 over spot, and sometimes more. A 100 ounce bar might be $1 or $2 over spot. Big difference. Does that mean you should always buy the biggest bar or coin? Not necessarily. And this is where it gets a bit nuanced. Fractional coins do have their place. Some people buy 1/4 ounce gold coins as gifts. Some people want fractional silver for what they call barter scenarios. The idea that if things got really bad, you want to have currency in smaller denominations. So the bottom line on form factor, match what you buy to what you're buying it for. Is it for long-term wealth? You probably want to minimize the premium you pay, which usually means buy in larger sizes. If you want recognizable, highly quality, liquid coins that are easy to trade, standard 1 ounce government minted coins are right in the middle of the sweet spot. If you want to maximize silver content per dollar, you can go with junk silver or large bars, and they're definitely worth looking at. And that now actually ties directly into something we need to talk about, because the question, how easy is this stuff to sell, is an important one. When you buy gold and silver, you're going to pay close to the ask price. When you sell it back, you're going to receive close to the bid price. The spread between those two numbers is real money, and it comes out of your pocket. It's the built-in friction that exists in almost all markets. Now, here's the thing. Not all metal sells equally, easily. And easily means two things, speed and price. Some products you can sell to any dealer in the country tomorrow and get a fair bid. Other products, you might struggle to find a buyer at all, or you might get lowballed because the dealer isn't sure how they're ever going to sell it. Government minted coins like gold eagles, maples, Britannias, silver eagles, silver maples, these are the most liquid products in the market. Every dealer knows them. When you want out, there's always a market. That's worth something. But be aware that the spread can and will change, and sometimes by a significant amount. Silver eagles are notorious for this, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Here's the mental model I'd give someone just getting started. Buy what you can sell without having to explain it. If you have to explain to a dealer what you have and why it's worth what you think it's worth, that's a product you probably shouldn't own yet. Okay, so you've bought your metal. Now what? Where does it live? This sounds simple. It's not. The decisions you make here have real consequences. Option one is home storage. A lot of people do this. A quality home safe is actually a reasonable solution for smaller amounts. Option two is a bank or safety deposit box. This feels safe, and it's better than, say, a shoebox under the bed, but they are not FDIC insured. If the bank fails, you might have a fight on your hands recovering your contents. And option three is a third-party precious metals storage facility. These are purpose-built vaults with segregated storage. They're fully insured and accessible on your terms. For larger holdings, this is where most serious investors go, and we do offer this vaulting at Summit Metals. My advice, figure out your storage plan before you buy. If you want more details on storage, check out the video we made where we tell you everything you need to know. Click the top of your screen. You can find it down in the description as well. Now, I'm going to keep this section clear and concise because this is an area where you need to talk to an actual tax professional for your specific situation. The IRS classifies physical gold and silver as a collectible, and long-term capital gains rate on collectibles is up to 28%, which is higher than the standard long-term capital gains rate on, say, stocks, which most people think of as the baseline. Does that mean gold and silver are a bad investment from a tax standpoint? Not necessarily. It depends a lot on many factors: your overall tax situation, how long you hold, which state you're in, whether you're buying inside a retirement account. You should know this going in. Don't discover it when you're going to sell. There's also reporting. Dealers are required to file 1099s for certain transaction above specific thresholds. This varies by product. Again, not something to be scared of, just something you need to understand. So the bottom line, talk to a CPA who understands precious metals. Not all of them do. Don't skip this step just because it feels like extra work. So here's where I want to land this. Everything we just covered, none of it is complicated once you know it, but none of it gets explained to you when you're standing at the counter with cash in your hand, excited to buy your first ounce, or say you've gone online and you've made your first purchase with Summit Metals. The people who do well in this space are the ones who treat the purchase decision like any other serious financial decision. They understand what they're buying and why. And underneath all of that, there's something harder to put a number on. It's that discipline I talked about at the beginning. The steadfastness that comes from holding something real. I told you at the beginning of this video that physical ownership changed how I operate as an investor, and I meant that. When everything else is flashing red, the noise is deafening, there's something anchoring about knowing exactly what you have, where it is, and that it represents a real store of value since before any of these current chaoses or even the currencies existed. If you have questions about anything we talk about today, about a specific product you're considering, about whether a price you were quoted is reasonable, do give us a call over at Summit Metals. If this video helped you, do me a favor and hit like, and subscribe if you want to keep getting content like this. We post every week. And the question for the comments today, what's the one thing you wish someone had told you before your first precious metals purchase? I'm sure many are going to read who are beginners and learn a lot from that. Or if you haven't bought, what's the one thing that's still making you hesitate? The answer might end up in a future video. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Eric with Summit Metals, and happy stacking.